So what's poppin' peons? It's your girl Justria, and today, you guys, I'm about to go talk about spirituality just for a little bit. I'm new to the spiritual community, and I am here to give you guys videos. I may not have my camera and my shit or my setup anymore how I used to have it, but I'm still here to give y'all videos. I want to call it Wisdom Wednesdays. I'm about to go drop a few nuggets on y'all that I've learned from spirituality and just life and all types of shit. And before you get on me, please, these are some of the things that I think that y'all could go get into. And if y'all don't agree with it, please do not sit here and comment on it because I said what the fuck I said, honey. Um, but here are a few things that you guys can do. I'm not really finna number it. I'm just finna give y'all like a 5 to 10 minute video on this shit, on things that I've learned in spirituality. Anything that leaves you in your life is supposed to is either protecting you or teaching you a lesson. Anything that, and I'm telling you, this I can tell if it's a protection, a lesson, or both. So y'all, basically, I had fell in love with this dude. I called him Superman. If y'all follow my podcast, y'all know all about Superman. Real Talk with Drill, all together, REALTALK, WITHDRIA. It's on all platforms, bitch. You could go watch it and listen to it. Go through the podcast. But I was like, when it came out of Superman, Superman was a manifestation for me. Basically, he was a karmic. What that means is me and this man have a soul contract that we both agreed to sign on before we came back down to this earth, meaning that he was supposed to teach me lessons, I'm supposed to teach him lessons. Recently, I've had a conversation with this man, and I ain't gonna lie, I got upset. I was so mad because I realized he was cheating on me. But that's okay. Because why is it okay? Why is it okay that he was cheating on you? He didn't communicate with you and all types of shit. Because it was supposed to be a lesson that I was supposed to learn in that shit. He literally taught me some shit that I wasn't even paying attention to. I can't give y'all the lessons that I learned, but let's just say he taught me lessons and I brought out lessons in him. So basically, we both pulled each other's shadow side out, which forced us to break up. And he ended up getting karma. I ended up getting karma. All good shit, all bad shit. Some bad, some good shit, some bad shit. It doesn't matter. And we ended up like just learning the lesson. So recently we had a conversation. Spirit said, tell that man happy Veterans Day. We ended up getting an argument on Veterans Day. Found out some truths. And I was like, ah. And then today I was like, oh, lesson. Lessons. And now I'm able to move forward in my love life without any animosity. And if anybody was to ask me about Superman, I would say that he was a karmic and a lesson. And honestly, it was I was talking about lessons and either lessons and protections. So basically, during a relationship, it was a point where it was both, where it was a lesson and protection. So basically, at the beginning of the relationship, he was protection. Okay, so he was protection from others because he was a gatekeeper for my emotions and shit like that. And he understood me and he made sure that I understood. He was part of the alignment of me actually learning about a lot of stuff. I ain't gonna say what he's into, but bitch, a lot of stuff. All right, mind you, I had been done seeing witches. I had seen witches in college and shit, but I never paid no attention to it. Now I understand why the fuck they didn't want me around them, especially during certain times, because baby, protected. But it was a point where in our relationship where I realized that I had major trust issues. And I ain't talking about like the cutesy shit where it's like, oh my gosh, bitch, big trust issues, bitch. I was being childish as fuck. And honestly, our breakup was tough for me because, bitch, I had to drag my own fucking ass out that shit. And I realized that, bitch, I'm toxic. The same way that he's toxic. That's why we on the same vibration. We had to learn different lessons, but it was what it was. And at one point, when it was a protection and a lesson at the same time, is which I believe was this last experience that we had, because we literally had a conversation. It was a lesson, and he was protecting me from himself. So basically, I learned that even though he was cheating, all right, on me and double dipping, he was protecting me from him and his narcissistic ways. Cause bitch, he made a bitch his girlfriend like right after me, and this bitch I'm gonna just say this bitch taught him a couple of lessons. But it was me being protected from the toxicity, right? So what it was when we separated was protection. When we got back together, he had finally learned his lessons. So when he came back around, it's like I know how to communicate now. I know how to do this, and I'm much happier. I'm in a better place, and I'm like, bitch. But yeah, like yeah, that's one thing. Another thing that I've learned that I feel like anybody could use is think of yourself as a higher being and think of yourself highly, but also don't think of yourself as too high, because once you realize that we're all the same and that we're just all souls and that we just have different purposes on this life, which is to simply live our best life on here until we actually ascend, I feel like, yeah. What does that mean? So this means basically, in so many words, like, I think I'm the baddest bitch on the block in every motherfucking block. But I also think that the next bitch next to me is the baddest bitch on the block. And bitch, we both the baddest bitches on the blocks. Bitch, everybody the baddest bitch on the block. I see people in their higher vibration selves, and so do I. So, and I don't think that I'm better than anybody else, but bitch, ain't nobody better than me. So what that entails is that, like, bitch, I have a high confidence in myself and others around me. Even when I cut bitches off, like, I still be telling them, like, bitch, you still the baddest bitch on the block. Bitch, you still pressure, even if we ain't cool like that. Why? Because at the end of the day, bitch, you pressure. Cause I'm pressure. Another thing, perfection is a fucking illusion. Live fucking life. Take the lessons that come with it. A lot of times we be so busy trying to be everything and everything to everyone except for our fucking selves. Be who the fuck you want to be. Learn the lessons that life has to give to you and live. Like, honestly, I learned, like, you can love somebody, but you can love somebody till they dirty dries, and if they hurt you, it's totally okay. And if you feel any animosity, like, I learned what true love is. If a person hurts you, you can be hurt about it for the moment, but if you truly love somebody, you'll be able to look past their wrongdoing, no matter how heinous or rough it may or may not be, because you honestly love them for who they are, not what they are and what they've done to you. Because I learned that you can love somebody just because. The same way people be like, I don't like her just because, the same way that you can love somebody just because. I also learned that isolation is needed to recharge, but relationships are needed in life. And the reason why I say relationships are needed in life is because it is. And there has to be a certain level of transparency and honesty, because a lot of people say, oh, I'm good all by myself. No, the fuck you're not. Like, when you're recharging and you're trying to figure out exactly what it is that like, look, let me phrase this. I can be by myself all day and be totally fucking happy in this whole entire world by my fucking self. So it means that when people try to cut me off or not look at me or take me or treat me with respect and all this other shit, I can be by myself. But the relationships that I do have around me, or I did have around me for fucking retrograde, reveal some shit, is that the health of the relationships that you have are important around you. Meaning, are you in tune with your family? Are you in tune with your soul family? Are you in tune with the people who actually give a fuck about you? Because don't get it twisted. As much as I can be by myself and I can isolate, the relationships that I have actually bring back life into me. Like, because there's certain days where I'm not always good. And me not always being good can come out to, oh, I'm in my feelings, or oh, I'm hurting, or oh, I'm sad, or I'm mad, or I'm this. But I'm telling you, when I feel like that, I could literally call Mr. fucking Bruce. And Mr. Bruce is like my soul father from the fucking streets, okay? Me and Mr. Bruce don't talk much. We don't have much interactions, but that man looks at me like I'm his daughter. And if I need Mr. Bruce for advice or just to go get a drink or talk about bullshit, like, oh, what we on today? He is gonna be there for me. Like, Mr. Bruce is the person who taught me how to tap into my feminine energy, even when I didn't know how to fucking tap into my fucking feminine energy, and I was way too masculine. But that's for a whole nother conversation and topic for another day. And I know I said I was gonna give y'all 10 minutes, but I'm gonna give y'all 5, and I'm gonna be out because I got like a couple of other things I want to say. I learned that you can have more than one soulmate. What does that mean? A soulmate is nothing. A soulmate and a karmic are two different things, but they're similar in certain ways. Meaning that people be like, oh, you only get one soulmate, you only get one love in this lifetime. But honestly, your soulmate could be your friend, your soulmate could be somebody, and soulmates or soul people or soulmates can be people who you link up with and you attach yourself with and you go forward from. Like, honestly, one of my soulmates is Mr. Bruce. Because honestly, Mr. Bruce took on to me and clung on to me, and I did not feel no type of ways. And usually, when I get around old men, I be like, ugh, that's ghetto. Trust your intuition. Your intuition never lies to you. A lot of times I be knowing shit, right? So what that means is like I'll peep some shit out, but I'll be like, nah, maybe I'm just ODing, right? Like example, I remember when I first started talking to this dude, and I know I was like being real standoffish because being honest, like I honestly did not cleanse my energy. Like I was just on fuckboy energy because that's the vibe I was getting. So me being an empath, which is a thing, you can be an empath, but that's all. Like, quick side note, being an empath means I feel on and I pick up on a lot of shit. So I pick up emotions. I can absorb a lot of shit. So for me, that's why isolation is important for me because I need to recharge and figure out myself from time to time. But I remember at the beginning of talking to this dude, I was like, man, this shit ain't gonna work out. And I was like, girl, you just being a fucking pessimistic ass bitch. And then I remember we was having a conversation about sleeping. Like I was finna do some grimy shit, y'all. And I'm telling you, spirit will get on your ass. So I was about to go do some grimy shit, right? And I was just sitting back, and I was like, I'm telling him, and then he said some even grimier shit to me. I was like, you nasty. And honestly, I was like, this ain't gonna work out because how you think. And especially when I was like, you know what, this just not gonna work out. Whoopty whoop whoop, yada yada yada. I was like, damn, that shit is crazy. And we ended up literally like not talking no more. And the crazy part is every time he would talk, I could feel his energy. Were places where he felt insecure at as a man, or places where he didn't feel confident, and I could tell when he did not want to be around me because he thought that he wasn't good enough. And I was like, wow, that's crazy, right? Boom. Intuition, listen to it when it comes. Honestly, like sometimes I just be hearing shit and I'll be like, I'm gonna wait for it, right? And I can feel a lot of stuff, which is like, oh, being an empath. Being an empath is fun and all until you can feel everybody's energy. I remember one time, like, some shit had happened in the house, and I had came back home. And everybody's energy was frantic and manic. Yeah, mind you, I had a beautiful fucking night's sleep. I woke up to distress. Y'all, my whole aura was fucked up for like 2, 3 days because everybody was what you call it in. Like just like vibrating low and upset. So I felt everybody's energy. So I had to cleanse my own energy. Like I had to like talk to my spirit guides and which are a real thing. Um Yeah, spirits are actually real. You have good spirits, just like saying when you have bad spirit, that's the called the yin and yang of life. Some people call it shadow, some people call it light work, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But there are such things as spirits, and once you feel like energy or energies or entities or whatever, you're around a spirit, maybe. And certain spirits can be really either good or bad. So when people say, oh, I'm working on my shadow side or doing shadow work, that means they're working on the lower vibrational parts of themselves. And working on the lower vibrational parts of yourselves tend to bring out like a lot of stuff that needs to come out to the surface. So basically, like those traumas that you have, those whatever, anything that ever hurt you or anything that you may not have noticed about yourself. Like I didn't know I had abandonment issues until this dude who I used to talk to broke up with me. And I cried. I literally begged this man to take me the fuck back. Like, begged. And I was like, where does this shit come from? And this is when shadow work kicked in. It was like, bitch, it comes from this experience that you had and these experiences and these experiences and these experiences. So you do this and you do that. And trust me, shadow work is not fun. It brings up a lot of shit. It's very emotional, but at the end you get to the higher vibrating part of yourself. So now when niggas want to leave, not even just niggas, but just people in general want to leave, like, and shit's not working out, it's easier for me to move around than it was before. What does that mean? Like, I remember I was talking to this dude had a BM. I didn't, like, honestly, I turned off my spiritual antennas. I didn't peep out the situation. I turned off my spiritual antennas. And once I found out, like, honestly, at the end of the day, I thought I was drained or whatever, bitch. And I had to took on some of his energy, because that's what you can do. Because energy can be transferred sexually, energetically, verbally, all this other stuff. I have realized that this man possibly had a baby mama, y'all. I went against my intuition. I was like, nah. He said I could post him. Y'all, I posted this man. This man said I have a family. And later on, in like the weeks to come, he told me that I was stupid and I was childish. And I was like, and my intuition was like, my intuition never lies. I was like, fuck. And when it comes down to even just that, like, you can't ignore your intuition. Like, everybody always wants to ignore their intuition. Everybody wants to say, oh, I'm just going to go sit here and I'm going to ignore this feeling. I want to talk about that too. Sometimes you can get false intuitions about certain things. Like, honestly, when it comes down to it, I hear shit more often and I can feel people's energy and I can hear their thoughts, which is really weird. Like, I remember the other day I was talking to, like, my father about something, and we was just talking about some shit. We was just talking about some bullshit, I think. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the conversation, I'm not paying attention to it, but I'm just sitting there and I could feel that he wasn't really sure about some shit, or that he was nervous about some shit. And I was like, why the fuck am I feeling nervous energy? Because I don't feel nervous energy. I don't, like, honestly, I'm looking at the conversation. On the outside, he's cool, calm, and collect and composed. And honestly, I've had like some spiritual fucking dreams that's really dope. Like, honestly, I remember when me and my ex was breaking up, I literally fucking astral projected, and the same shit that I was running from when it came down to him, I ended up actually going on a 5D date with him. And it's crazy because everybody always thinks, like, what the fuck is a 5D date? Meaning that my soul, that my spirit went into the astral realm, which is a place that you can actually go to if you learn how to meditate. And no, I was not on drugs, so don't go there. And once we had got there, I was like, it's like, get ready. I'm getting dressed and shit. So in the middle of me getting dressed, I see who I'm going on a date with. I'm like, I don't want shit to say to that man. That man can have nothing to say to me. Like, yeah, I really have like really bad anger issues. And I'm not gonna hold y'all. It's some shit I need to do some shadow work on that shit. Cause bitch, I feel like if you take your love with me, I'm gonna have to take it to hell with you to go prove a point. Because I feel like I'm not to be fucked with. But that's shadow work. That shadow work. I gotta go get into that. But so basically, I literally went on a date with this man in a 5D, and we've had like a full blown conversation. I cannot remember the whole exact fucking conversation, word from word, and if I could, I would not tell y'all on here. But basically, I was able to converse with him spiritually, and I literally felt him there, like he was there. And also, I've been able to astral project and go see myself in other lights. And spirituality is real. The same way there are spirits in this world, or good demons and angels and shit like that. Like, no matter what you believe in, and this is something that I believe in spirituality, our religions follow spirituality. It's always a knockoff of spirituality, from chakras and meditating and shit like that. So when you tap into spirituality and you get into it, you gonna be exposed to a lot of stuff. And I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna be out. My final thing. Out of everything that I've said, your spiritual journey is gonna be its own thing. And yes, there will get points where if you do not rest and isolate and recharge yourself and actually apply the information, you're gonna go through the same lessons over and over again. And it's best that you learn the lessons the first time, because the more you have to learn it, the harder it's going to get, and it's going to be harder to bounce back, and it's going to be harder to come from. And yes, you can be spiritually tired, and that's okay. You can take a spiritual break and just be human and actually live. And sometimes you don't have to believe every fucking thing that you read out there, the same way you wouldn't believe any fucking thing that if you read it on the line. Like if you got an email saying, hey, I'm a Nigerian prince and I'm gonna send you some money, but you just gotta go give me like send me $50 and I'm gonna go do this so I know it's real. You won't believe that shit, because if somebody has something to give you when I have to go, you would not have to. If it's really and truly honestly a gift, it's something that you would not have to go put out for. It's the same way in spirituality, and a lot of y'all need to practice to what y'all get into, because whether you want to be a witch, a good witch, a bad witch, a bitch that's hexing people, a bitch that's doing all types of shit, please do your research and study that shit before you get into, because some shit you get into, it will literally kill you on your, it will kill off your spirit first, and once your spirit is dead, bitch, your mind and body will follow. That's all I'm gonna say. But honestly, when it comes down to a lot of certain things, y'all need to get y'all shit together, especially when it comes down to what you want. And do not let anybody tell y'all what y'all can and what y'all cannot do, because, period, we really create our own reality. So we choose what we want to believe in. We may be influenced, but we choose our own very life. So if your life is shit, it's because you want it to be shit. And until you change up and you align, aka alignment, until you align, which I dropped the podcast on that, Real Talk with Drill, which is everywhere, baby, y'all gonna know about me. Like, once you align, like, your life is gonna be a lot better. And yes, you may get tested in this lifetime, but every test ain't that hard, and life is not that hard. Life is what the fuck you make it. And sometimes you will be tested by the universe and you will be gifted. And sometimes the test won't be seeming fair because you like, damn, I did all this work. Sometimes your ass gonna have to fucking wait for that shit. And that's just on period. With that being said, we outie.